Welcome back. Early today, the Hong Kong student leaders called off talks with the government following the latest eruption of violent street scuffles during the pro-democracy demonstrations that have been seen in Hong Kong. And it's been seen around the world. We're joined now by Forbes contributor and author of the book, The Coming Collapse of China. My friend Gordan Chang joins us. Gordan, pleasure to have you. So, Gordan, why don't you give us just a quick wrap-up on what this entire thing is all about in Hong Kong?
Well, the protests are about the 2017 election for chief executive, which is the chief political official in Hong Kong, like the governor. Essentially, what people are concerned about is that Beijing is willing to grant universal suffrage for that election, but it is so tightly controlling the nominating process that only Beijing's hand-picked candidates can run, and people are calling this fake democracy. So clearly, people in Hong Kong don't want North Korean elections where there is universal suffrage, but you can't really choose. And so at this point, we've had these big demonstrations now for more than a week, and clearly this is going to go on for quite some time. Today, Beijing sent in the goons, and that's the big story.
Gordan, it is exactly 25 years since Tiananmen Square. Obviously, the Chinese are extremely sensitive to any comparisons about that vicious crackdown. To what extent are the Chinese playing this in a way that avoids Tiananmen, and to what extent are they trying to, as we were talking earlier, use outside forces to try to subvert the demonstrators?
You know, up until today, it looked like Beijing was trying to sort of stay back and let the thing fizzle out so that they could sort of resolve this without violence. But today we saw the goons attack pro-democracy demonstrators, two separate locations in Mong Kok.
Gordan, define goons for the viewers.
These are the triads. These are these criminal groups that have been very...
The mafia.
The mafia, very prevalent in Hong Kong, especially after Britain handed Hong Kong to China. The triads have become very, very powerful in Hong Kong. And today we saw them attack the pro-democracy demonstrators, two separate locations, same tactics at the same time, obviously showing coordination, planning, and organization. Also, about 2.5 hours ago, we saw the police in Mong Kok, which is on Kowloon Peninsula, do a couple of things which indicated that they were working in close coordination with the triads. So, for instance, they were pepper spraying students who were running down triad members who had attacked them. And so the police were allowing the triad members to escape. And this shows that there is very close coordination on the part of the Hong Kong government with Beijing, with the triads, with the police.
Well, actually, Gordan, this strikes me as an unusual tactic for the Chinese, because since the Chinese have been very firm that they're not going to change their policy on the election of the chief executive, why not just let the demonstrators sit out on the streets until they eventually get tired?
Well, you know, that would be what we would think to be the smart thing to do. But Beijing might look at this a little bit differently. They will see democracy contagion. You know, people in Hong Kong are on the streets in very large numbers. Those images are getting back into mainland China itself. And the Communist Party is worried that people in Shanghai are going to say, well, what about me? Why can't I vote in an election? And matter of fact, last Wednesday, we saw a sympathy demonstration in the center of Shanghai in People's Square. And so that must worry Beijing's leaders. So therefore, they might want to use force in Hong Kong to teach a lesson not only to the people in Hong Kong, but more important, to the people in mainland China itself. They might refer back to Tiananmen 1989, where basically Deng Xiaoping publicly said, we should not be afraid to spill a little blood. And I'm afraid that Xi Jinping, the current ruler of China, may be taking his cue from Deng in this regard.
But Gordan, I got to say, I'm a little bit taken aback when you tell us that the Chinese government has partnered with the version of the mafia over there. China has never been at a loss for military or any other asset that could take care or deal with this situation. Sure. Why would they choose to partner with a criminal organization like this?
Well, I think what they want to do is sort of be able to do things but not have their fingerprints on them. You know, Deng Xiaoping, not before he died, talked about how the triads, some of the triads in Hong Kong, which he called black societies, some of these black societies were indeed patriotic groups, the term he used. So this is something where, you know, the Chinese have used triads in a number of, they've used them this year, for instance, in Hong Kong, in a series of escalating incidents, one of them nearly fatal. So this is if they're able to do things and not be blamed for them, or at least not to have the direct linkages there.
I just find that extraordinary. So you feel this is really all about keeping their hands off of it. Fascinating. Gordan Chang, always my favorite go-to source when it comes to anything having to do with China. Just a very quick yes or no question in the time we have left, Gordan. Where is China? Where are their fortunes today? Rising or falling?
Falling.
Falling. Okay. You tend to say that whenever I ask you that question. So we appreciate having you. We welcome you back soon. I'm Rick Unger with my friend here, Mr. Fun, filling in for Steve Malzberg, and we will be back with more right after this.